Now, hello and welcome back to the inner workings of the Ontology Machine, the last part. We are now in the Ontology agent. We built our database, our custom database. We created the base graph. We know how to query the database itself. But now we are in the Ontology agent, and here we have something very interesting to work with. But before we start, let's give a little disclaimer. You see down here, this little window, what you can see is the input tokens and the output tokens. This is very useful, especially for the ontology agent, because the work you do in here gets very expensive very quickly, because he uses up a lot of tokens, because he has to read many queries from the database in order to get enough context to build what you want. So if you are cost sensitive, or you wonder why your OpenAI ChatGPT subscription was drained that fast, probably this is the reason here. You will have to keep an eye on the token input and output in order to estimate how much you are willing to pay for this kind of work. So let's start. We have a news corpus here, and this is a government mouthpiece, more or less, and you know that there are certain framings in there, but you want to flesh those framings out and make connections to prove where they appear, how they look like, and how they progress over time. We have just a 7-day data sample here, but there is no reason why you can make 1 month or even 1 year. It's just a matter of token you are willing to spend on this. And how this works is pretty easy. Like, you say, well, I suspect that here are some heavy framing going on. Well, there is some heavy framing going on. Can you help me figure out how to dig it out? It's like you can talk to them in whichever way you want, and the agent will help you. So he will give you some suggestions. Let me see. Look for framing signals, use the corpus structure, build a lens. I can help you with 2 ways. Like fast audit mode, identify the strongest framing heavy documents and quote exact passages. No, that's not what we want. Or ontology mode, build a lens that marks framing signals systematically across the corpus. This is what we want. This is a good suggestion. And I say, okay, I want the ontology mode. Let's see how to create it. Just ask it how to create it. And you will see that the agent, especially the ontology agent, is thinking quite long. This is because he queries the database in the background, and that querying can go like easily up to 15 tool calls and 3, 5, or even 6 back and forth calls between the model and you. But you don't see that. It's just in the background. And you will see here that if the agent is answering, the token count will make a huge jump. And this, as long as this thing here is spinning, that thing is doing something. If it runs into a timeout, this can happen if the request is too complex or the database is too huge. It can happen that the agent has to think way too long, and there is certain timeouts in the background that the agent can run into in order to prevent massive unconstrained token use. So this can be annoying, but it is like a security measure. And this takes quite long. Yes, you see, through 280,000, from 30,000 to 220,000, it's like 190,000 token, what he just burned in one setting. And he has throughoutly analyzed the database, and he gives you a summary what he wants to do. And he says the corpus evidence for the first framing target is solid enough to seed the lenses. That means you created the base structure, and he gives you the reason why, and then he offers you next steps. And you can just say, well, yeah, that sounds good. Just do that. Let's see. Just do that. Create a lens and write first structure into it. So and again, you don't, if you are impatient with this, this is probably not something you would enjoy, because this is a really time-consuming and token-heavy process. But the outcome might be well worth it in the long term if you make, let's say, if you want to reveal how propaganda works, how you can prove framing with exact sources, and in this case, you could even pin down the exact places with timestamps, because as you have saw in the beginning, the transcripts also contain timestamps. And if you tell the agent that he should connect his evidence graph with the timestamps, then he will of course do it, and you will be able to exactly point to a timestamp and say there was the claim made, and this claim relates to this kind of framing, for example. And oh, this can happen. So now what happened? The corpus has no existing ontology lenses yet. So was creating the first one from scratch, yes. The right engine kept rejecting the batch on requiring fields and reference types. The remaining issues are specific and clear. Yes, okay, this is perfect. Because we use the mini model, this is a weaker model, and the ontology has so if you want to write within an ontology subject, there is a verification gate in front of it that the agent has to pass in order to be able to write within the database, so he does not screw up and write or hallucinate some stuff into it. There is a very strict verification gate that he has to pass. and not like say the big GPT 5.4 or 5.5 is usually capable to pass this gate if he has like 2 tries. But smaller models that are not that capable, they will run into the retry limit, and then he will say he was kept from writing because he didn't. He made too many mistakes. This is a model, like an LLM thing that prevents the model from writing nonsense into the database. So if you use a weak model, you might expect that these things happen quite often, depending on the size of your database or how many or how complex your request is. And you can see you have now 470k tokens burned and 31,000 output token. For GPT 5.4 mini, that would mean, I guess, like you have spent $2 or something already, or like 150. You can prompt it as often as you want. You can say, yeah, try again. Maybe he will pass the gate, maybe he won't. But if you want to be really sure, then you have to use the frontier models, like not mini, but the big frontier models. And for that, I can show you that, how that works. You just have to go back to your, where is it? Configure. Go back to the models. Go down here. And I will use GPT, where is it? 5.5. Like, and then save it. Clear it, close, and reload the agent. And now you see is GPT 5.5. You go back to the ontology agent, go back to your history, and you can so at the end he makes a proposal, and you say and you're going to say yes, try again. And now this is in API mode. That means the GPT 5.5 frontier model costs like $30 in 1 million output token, and I guess like 15 or something in 1 million input token. That means the answer he is now producing will cost at least $1 or $2 if you use API. If you use your OAuth subscription model, this will be considerably cheaper because like there is a $20 per month OpenAI subscription, and with this you can I haven't checked it, but I would guess you can run the ontology agent like for 5, 6, 7 rounds to before you have drained your quota for the day. And if you are very patient, you will be able to create a very good ontology within a week if you just use the $20 subscription of OpenAI. It's also a bit slower, but who cares if you get the frontier model and you don't have to pay like hundreds of dollars just to have some database entries created. So let's see, how long is this running now? Oh, so I forgot the taxonomy agent run for the 38 pages took like 15 minutes if you are curious about that. And a good rule of thumb is like, depending on the the content that you try to ingest, let's say 1 minute per page. If you have like 1,000 pages, you can do the math, how long this takes to ingest all it. Now he's still thinking. Well, okay, I had to refresh the page because the agent just took too long to think, but it turned out he succeeded in writing, and he created a framing lens and just dug out 3 framing claims, and now he just recommends to like go deeper, verify those claims, and just connect it to evidence. You can say, well, okay, you can dig deeper, dig out more, or just connect it to evidence. And I say connect them to evidence. And then we just let it go on again. So this was considerably faster. So he just took the evidence links and connected them to the nodes within the evidence graph. And now you can just go back to the query agent if you want and ask them about those things. You see, it's quoted where the things come from. What you can do now is even you can see he proposes a richer evidence modeling. That means he can go deeper, dig out more, make the framing lens broader, or he can even do like something like this. So if you want to know what was the main topic this week, that was clouded in the thickest. That was fast. So for this week, the scene setting reform pressure is large. That was the biggest thing. Up. Oh, okay, yeah. He see, you have to be more precise. So we just ask it again, because he just looked into the lens he already created, and that is quite small. So he has to look outside the lens within the whole database. Just something like this. So, and he just did what you asked him to do. He expanded the active framing lens, the new corpus-wide topic, repeated criticism, and pressure framing. So the most cited connection, claim patterns, Roll up is framed through criticism, pressure, urgency, or failure. This is not the lens component. Strongest example. Yes, this is what we had before. The opposition criticism, the asylum system, and all the quotes, and why this is framing, and where it is. It just gives you the source, and then, yeah, well, this is not very good formatted, but you will find this in there if you look. So space X, power criticism, yeah, this is all perfect. And validation status passed. That means he wrote this into a database and he passed the verifications and the embeddings are refreshed. So as long as those things are not verified as claims, they will remain as proposed. And if you want to verify that, you just need to connect the evidence snippets to the claims, and you just say, well, then verify those claims and connect them to the corresponding evidence, please. So now we came up. So he created the evidence trail that point back to the exact sources of those assertions that you can then quote. So verified corpus-wide claims. Yes, yes, yes. So this is like the some kind of base ontology you have just created, and I want you to take into account that this has gobbled up like 800,000 tokens in input and 40,000 in output. That means if you use like the biggest frontier model that there is available, you just would have spent probably like $25 or something like that. This is just at the frontier of what is possible. You can expand this as long as you want. You can, if you send the agent on the same database like 10 times and give it a job to say just dig deeper, unearth some more and more framing topics, and then connect those framing topics, then he will do that. But your token count will just go bonkers. And the sad part is, as useful as this is for a private person, it is just still too expensive. And in future iterations, like the 5.5 model is perfectly capable to work with that. He will pass the verification gates. He will unearth the connections. He will connect the evidence, and he will create a perfectly readable database for you. But for that the private person can use this extensively, the token prices must come down substantially before this makes any sense. Because if you see 800,000 and you didn't create that much out of it. So to close this, we now go back to the query agent and just ignore here, there is just one ontology lens, not two. I don't know why this bug happened. So I will have a look at that at some point. And then just ask them, well, what does the ontology lens claim? Well, you can ask the same question the ontology agent, but he will be way more expensive because he will just again turn the database upside down. This thing is way cheaper. You see, it's just 21K and 500 out. It's way cheaper than working with him here. And he tells you that, okay, loaded language, reform pressure, yes, opposition criticism, yes, perfect. That's all what we unearthed here. And they tell you what those framing lenses are: loaded wordings, pressure, and criticism. And if you are lazy and just want to make a report or something like that, you can say, build me a report like text from the content assumed readable with evidence links. Like this. In a narrative. It can be used as a script. And now he has written quite a lot. Let's see what he came up with. Yeah, this is the usual negative statements first, and the disclaimer. Yeah, blah blah blah. The main claim might across the corpus might pass strong repeated framing pattern. So I will scroll slowly through it so you can read it yourself. Like this is the most, this is interesting. So you can see a pattern already here that supports the lens larger claim that implementation is repeatedly framed as too slow or under pressure. This connects to the, well, I should call it slush fund uh, of the German government. They call it Sondervermögen, and what's this? That's basically just debt, you know, massively unrestricted debt, and this is how they frame it. No, it doesn't get spent fast enough. That's interesting. Yeah, it is not in. It's not enough. It's more than we thought. Yeah, that's very interesting. Yes, you see, this is what you get from a relatively superficial skim pass of the database. We have just, let's see, give me a brief summary of the lens. What's in there? He doesn't give numbers. Well, you have to be more specific. We have to ask for numbers. But you get the point. If you have time and patience, if you use your low tier subscriptions, then you can get a you can drill down and unearth way more than that. You can say, like, concentrate on budget shortage or the refugee thing, or how opposition is framed, or whatever. There's way more in it. This is just a superficial skim of the database, and it is not restricted to like news or something like that. Don't get the wrong impression. You can throw in there whatever you want, a book, science papers, and cookbooks, manuals, whatever. What in every format that thing can ingest. And you can unearth anything. It is persisted. So if you just close it and you go to your database, like here in your artifact tree that you created, you have the corpus. These are just live artifacts from the server, because the server is still active. Now it's gone. There is completely self-contained. You can take that without needing any of this. You can just take this and put it into everything you want. You can use it. You can use your own AI agent to read this. You can use normal SQL tools to read it. This is a completely self-contained database that you can carry with you and use wherever you want. So now, this is what the Ontology Machine is and what it can do. And if you are interested, you can just read the handbook, or if you have like massively time, you can go into the folder and just go and read the documentation. There's plenty to read for hours and hours if you're interested in how that thing works, what's beneath the hood, how the design process went down, what went wrong. And this is just a rough prototype. It works, but there are plenty of bugs in there, and because it's so huge, those bugs won't be like found out anytime soon. So expect some failures there. And I would appreciate if you found failures that you give me a GitHub notice so I can fix it. Thank you for your attention.